happy to be here tonight. It's wonderful. You're all so friendly and smiling and happy, and that's the first time we've ever released pink balloons, if you can believe that. And I do this all the time for breast cancer, and that's a great idea. It's really neat. I came here, I live in Columbia, South Carolina, so I haven't come from far. But Ann's a dear friend. Ann is our rep, is your rep. And she's been with Vera Bradley for, what, 17 years?
17 years.
Lives in Atlanta. So she asked me to come, and I was thrilled. The company started in 1982 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in my sister's basement. Now, we were in Atlanta at the airport, so actually it started in Atlanta, the thought anyway. And we were waiting for our planes, change planes, and the luggage, women's luggage back in 82 was brown and black leather, that's it. And the purses were mostly brown and black. And Barb, my sister, said, we need to get some color in the purses and luggage and things for, you know. Pierre Du was the French, and then Laura Ashley had the British. So she said, we need some American colors. So they went back to Fort Wayne. The next day they went in and bought a pattern at a Joann's or Sofro or Calico Corners or one of those places, a duffel bag pattern. And they hired somebody to sew it because they didn't. We took sewing in high school, but believe me, we couldn't have put in those long zippers. And, we weren't very good at that. So they hired someone to sew it. And they made a few of them, and their girls were going to Michigan at the time, and they took them back to college, and everybody loved them. And so they said, we might have a good idea. So the first thing we did, they called Mother and said, we're going to start a little company. I keep thinking this is a real person.
You're not the only one, I'll blame me.
I don't even know what this is. So anyway, they called Mother and said, we're going to start a company, and we'd like to name it after you. And Mother said, well, what are they going to look like? She wasn't just going to say, sure, you know, she wasn't going to know what they're going to look like. So they started it, named it after Mother. And they said, why didn't they name it after Pat's mother? Pat's mother's name was Wilma Polito. I didn't think that sounded nearly as pretty as Vera Bradley. So they named it after Mom. And Mother lived in Florida at the time. I lived in Columbia, and Barbie and Pat were in Fort Wayne. So we knew how to do gift shows because Dad was a salesman forever and ever. He was a salesman, and we had done gift shows. Never ran a business. Neither one of them ever ran a business. So we took it to Chicago, and we had a few made up. We had a duffel, a smaller duffel, a purse, and a garment. And we would hang the garment and stuff the bags. And that's all we had in Chicago at the gift show. We were down in the basement. And they sold, and you could come in, you could buy one. You could buy one purse or one anything. You know, we had a yellow tablet, we wrote the orders. So the first year, and this happens to my sister. She is you know, some people, you know, they just, everything is the right time. So that night they were having a cocktail party upstairs for the new people. So she went upstairs, and this little girl was dancing around, and she was an Asian girl, and she was dancing around, and Barbie had bought some from the guy next door, some little earrings. They were like sequins, and you just press them on your ears. It looked like they had pierced ears, you know, but they really weren't pierced. So she said, come here, you want to fool your mommy? So she put them on the little girl, and she went over and told her mommy she got her ears pierced, and her mother laughed. So they started talking. So as the night went on, the mother said, shh, Daddy's going to talk. And Daddy was the head of the whole Chicago gift show. I mean, the president of the Chicago gift show. So he spoke and then came down and sat with them at the table for dinner. And he asked where they were, and they said, we're in the basement. Now, I mean, the basement is really, really down low, you know. And the next year, they were up front, right as you came off the escalator on the first floor, at a perfect location. And these things happen to Barb. She's just that type of person. So we started selling them, and the first reps were, I was one, a friend from college, just friends, you know, no professionals like Ann, and we didn't have computers or anything. So we started selling them all around, and it was going very well. And there's some funny stories, and they do prototypes when they make a purse, and then when they make a new product, they test it. So they were in London one year, and this girl had a microfiber black bag on the, in the dinner. They came outside, and Barb said, "What's on your purse?" She had knives and forks and spoons all stuck to her purse. They stuck to the magnet on the purse. And she had set it on the table and taken it to the silverware. So they had to return the silverware, and they did that happily. And Mother was a rep in Florida for the whole state of Florida until she was 82. And she was in a little accident and hemorrhaged internally and died very quickly, so there was no, she just, looking back, we were very happy that's the way she went. She was selling when she went. And she was 82 at the time, so she was in it 10 years. And when she passed away, we didn't know what to put her in because she was perfectly healthy and looked great and everything. And she wore the Vera Bradley outfit. We used to have skirts and jackets and things. So Barbie got the idea that she would send for the newest color that was coming out that spring. So she did, and it was blue and white, and we dressed Mother in that. So a woman came up, and Mother was like in the coffin right here, and she got about this far, and she said, "Oh, is that the new blue?" My mom would have loved that, selling that. We always joke about that. First I thought, oh, I didn't want to say that, because people might think that's it, but Mom would have loved it. So that was the new blue, and that's what we buried her in. And we have wonderful company up in Fort Wayne. We have about 30 girls. Everyone asks how they create all these colors, and we have about 30 women up there, aged from 21 up to 75, that create these colors. And they go over to Europe every year, like to Paris, and there's this woman, and they call her the guru, and you pay to go and listen to her, and she tells you what's going to be in they've already done 2015. They already know what we're going to be wearing, what colors. So you listen to her, and then you know if what color green's going to be in, what color purple, what color, all this. Then it's like the fashion industry, and then they have to go back and create the clothes. Well, we create the bags, and that's why our bags match what you're wearing. Just, you go into Target or you go into Talbot's or place, and all the colors are about the same palette, and that's how the clothes match. And then they come back, and they have a company. They have an office in New York, and now it blows my mind. Probably not the younger people in here, but they've got a screen, and they can talk to the company in New York, the office, just like they're talking to us right here. And they can change colors just by adding a little green. They want a little green in that blue, or they want a little brown in the purple. And they can do it on the screen instantaneously. It's amazing. So they work very hard, and they come up with all the different colors and the different patterns and things like that. They have wonderful sales staff, and we just got a new CEO today. We haven't had a CEO for a while. Well, we had one, but he's retiring, and it was Barb's son-in-law. And he's retiring, and we have a new CEO, and he was in charge of Saks Fifth Avenue, so he's got good credentials as far as, retail business and stuff. Mike was a numbers guy, wonderful, smart young man, but he was more into the numbers end of it than the retail part of it. So we think this will make, big change, and we're all anxious to see what happens. Don't know what's going to happen. We're growing rapidly, and it's just fun to be with people like you that love the product, and I'm amazed. And my friends say, "Oh, Joan, you should retire this. How can you do all this?" But when you meet so many great people, every place I go, and they all tell stories of their first bag, or their grandchildren carrying it, or their mother started them. It's wonderful, and we have a great breast cancer foundation, which most of you know about. We pledged $20 million. It was started for my sister's roommate in college. They went to Marymount in Tarrytown, New York. and she passed away at 51 from breast cancer. So they said, we need to do something to maybe, stop this horrible disease. So they started it in '98 and pledged $20 million, and we have today raised $20 million. And I want to tell you a story. Barbie, in Fort Wayne, when they had the golf tournament in the spring, they put pink ribbons up all over town. I mean, companies put them. How many they had at that one company? Thousands, all along the road. And Barb was driving to work one day, and a ribbon had fallen down. So she pulled over to put it back up on the thing, and it had Mary's name on it.
Oh my goodness.
How about that? We call that a God wink. Now that's a good job. So it was, and they share the information. It's IU, Indiana University, is the research. We pay all the administrative costs, so nobody's at Vera Bradley making $200,000 a year. And they started sharing the information, and this doctor, I've told a few of you this, recently did a study that took months and months, and he put it on the internet, and within 48 hours, 70 different research facilities had downloaded the information, and these are all over the world. So they might need one little bit of that to fill in what they are missing in their research. And I just think that's a great, I think more and more people should do that, share the information. Do you have any questions? Nobody has questions?
What can you make for the men?
Well, we used to make ties for them, but you guys stopped wearing ties. We stopped doing that. But we're trying to bring it back. My sister really would like to make ties because they were beautiful. And I don't know. We're making little boys' clothes now.
Oh yeah.
That's a little bit fun.
A little sneak peek. It's coming in the spring. So.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if we'll ever get into men's things, but we are working hard.
There's black quilted bags you guys can carry.
We'll just carry it for the women.
Camo or something.
Oh, no, we're not going camo. I never say never, but I doubt that that's in their brain. I doubt that the guru in Paris has any idea of putting camo in our designs. As a matter of fact, they tried it once with some colors and didn't like it. So.
Did y'all recently partner with some Disney things?
Yes, we did.
Is it only available at the parks, or is
It's
it gonna
only
be
available at the parks, and I think on the cruise ship, and I think now it's online, Disney.com or
It just
Disney.
came out like in September or
Right.
October.
And that's sort of a funny story. They came to us and they wanted us to create,
Really
to partner
cool.
with them. So they said, and we'll do the design. And so Vera Bradley said, okay, I'll give you something. You do a design and we'll do a design and you get to choose which one you like. Well, they liked ours. And it's two, one's black background and the other's pink, and they're really cute.
They are cute.
So you have to go to Disney.
Okay. I didn't know if it was going to be a Disney, because they said online that it was like a park theme, item only or
Yeah.
whatever. So.
That's what they told us too. I mean, I don't have one, so. I don't know, maybe Barbie does.
Yeah.
Anything else? Mother grew up in St. Louis, one of 7 children, and we lived in Chicago when I was little, and then Miami Beach. And
How did your sister and her friend meet? There's a story about that too. Didn't they move into a neighborhood and?
well, Barbie was hanging wallpaper. She moved into Fort Wayne. Barb's husband traveled all around with a paper company. So they were transferred to Fort Wayne. She was hanging wallpaper, which we did. We both had a wallpaper company. And Pat knocked on the door. She was the welcome wagon agent. And Barb said, do you know how to hang wallpaper? And she said, why, no, I don't. And she said, well, come on in and I'll teach you. So they started hanging wallpaper. And they were the paper dolls for a while. And they hung wallpaper. And then they sold Doncaster clothes. I don't know if we've ever heard of that, but it's you can get these clothes and then you can bring them to your home and display them and sell them. They did that for a while. And then they came up with the Vera Bradley. So they did start. They were partners in the wallpaper business for a while. And we still hang wallpaper. Barbie
Y'all
did
make
her,
wallpaper?
her bathroom, and Mother hung wallpaper at 75. She hung wallpaper in her bathroom, so it was in the genes, I guess.